Hi, it's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and this is what my sewing room currently looks like. I bought a few new things, so it's all piled up, but I'm in the process of reorganizing all of this, hopefully get a little bit more space out of it and make it a little neater. I share this room with my exercise equipment and Walter's workshop, which is over there. We won't look at that mess. Right now, we're dealing with this mess. So I'm going to try to get those shelves cleaned off, and those ones, purge, relocate, and then I can take everything out of these racks, get them up on the shelves, move those in the laundry room to hold cleaning supplies, probably get rid of that blue one, it was a cheap thing, and we'll see what happens from there. So this is basically the before picture. And so it took me all day to reorganize this space, but now I have a more workable sewing area and room. So I'm going to take you on a little tour. Now, this is not ideal by any stretch of the imagination because I'm cramping this into a space that already has a treadmill in it, excuse me, and of course my husband's workshop as well. But now I've got a space where I can cut and I can press and I can get to my sewing machine, and I don't have to do a lot of moving things around. At least that's my hope. So here's what it looks like now. Now before, my sewing machine was sitting here, but now you can see I've extended the table and it sits in there, and I have a chair, and I've reorganized this whole corner, put up one of my quilts, and I now have a small design wall. And that design wall serves two purposes. One, it holds my squares and swatches, and behind it are all my paints and my mixed media products that used to be on those little carts that sat down here. And I've cleaned off these shelves, and so now these shelves are strictly for my sewing materials. As time goes by, I'll probably get some of those clear shoe boxes and put my material and scraps and things like that into that by color. But for now, this will do with what I've got. I've also have my iPad over here hooked up, and I have it hooked up to a Bluetooth speaker. So if I want to watch TV or watch YouTube videos as I'm sewing, I can do that. I've got lots of light down here. And let's just move around from my perspective from my machine. So you can see I have all these tables, and I have these cutting mats. I have my rotating cutting mat, and I have my pressing board, and my iron is over there. And I've now located power bars in areas that are a little bit more convenient. Instead of running a lot of cables underneath this table, well, I'm still running some cables underneath this table. I was going to move my paper rack. This is for my scrapbooking days, but actually I do not have any other place to put it. And it's not really taking up that much space on that wall. And so I'm leaving it there for now. I have my rulers on the wall, basically where I had them before, except I moved them down a little bit. And my iron is set up and ready to go. And I can control everything pretty much, with the exception of the overhead fluorescent light, but including this light, which has just been sitting here as storage. It's an old light from our kitchen that we replaced with one of Walter's stained glass Tiffany lamps, and we were just saving it for someday. If we ever sell the house, then we'll put this back up in the kitchen because they're not getting his Tiffany. But I didn't have a plug on the end of it, so I put one on the end of it, and it gives me extra lighting right over top of my pressing board. Now underneath, I had before, but I have a little bit more storage. I have my rotary cutters and sewing thread for my serger, which is out for cleanup and refurbishing. And got to do something about those bags. They have batting in them. And I've got my carry cases, and I just bought yesterday this brand new snazzy case for taking my sewing machine properly. Before, I was using the blue one that you can see in behind, and that is a one that was actually meant to carry my brother's scan and cut machine, which I hardly ever use since I've got a couple of Crickets. But I haven't gotten rid of it yet. I might sell it. If anybody's interested, let me know. Except shipping would kill you, unless you're living here, right next door. So I have lots of storage. I have a little shelving unit, my garbage can. I'll just go over here. This has my scissors, things that I need most readily when I'm sewing, right under there. My foot pedal's down there. I've got my thread board. I mounted it to the wall. By the way, this piece of lattice is just, we had this left over from years ago when we were doing our deck. So we had just put it in this part and we just screw nailed it to the wall. And that's where it's been ever since. So, yeah, gives a different kind of backdrop. What else can I show you? Oh yes, back here behind my chair are my magazines and books. My sewing books, my quilting books, my latest magazines. I brought them in here. I had them out in my craft room before, but it makes more sense to have them here in the sewing room. These drawers are not all dedicated to sewing things. There's miscellaneous bric-a-brac that at some point we'll go through and clean out. Top drawer, though, does have my fabric in it. And so, yeah, so that's about it. You can see that I still have my treadmill in here. I moved a few things over a little bit just to give me a little more space. This bench is a little bit in my way. It's a little awkward. I don't really use the bench that much, but I don't know if I want to get rid of it yet or not. So I'm just hanging on to it. Maybe eventually it'll go. I did kind of want to get rid of all of this paper that's in here when I was doing bookbinding, and I haven't done bookbinding in a while, but they're really nice papers. On rolls, and I had thought, well, maybe I could take them out, fold them up, and put them in a drawer, but no, that kind of wrecks them. So this spot sort of opened up, so that's where it's going to sit for now in that hamper. So anyways, although it's not maybe the grandest of sewing rooms, it should do. What I like now is that I have space to spread out on here with my pressing board and my mats and everything, my cutting mats. So we'll see how this works. I'll probably have to tweak it a little bit. Oh yeah, and just as a whim, I happen to have found, I don't know, I must have bought them as a gay gift or something, this little guy here. So I decided to make him into a pin cushion, and he's just sitting up there. He's more of a decoration than anything else. I put little Velcro dots underneath it so I can pull it off if I need to. But I just thought, yeah, adds a little personal touch. So I hope you enjoyed this little tour of my one-day refurbishing of my sewing area. And yeah, so we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.